So Minnesota goes to 5-2. They beat Detroit, sending them to 3-1. Score was 42-30. Now, numbers wise, Stafford 30 of 45 for 364 yards, 8.1 average, 4 touchdowns, a semi-crucial pick at the end. Still probably a long shot, even if they were to score a touchdown there on that last drive. But so he threw a pick. Sacked twice. He lost 12 yards. A quarterback rating of 111.7. Now, carrying the ball, there wasn't too much carrying of the ball for the Lions today. J.D. McKissick was, I guess, co-leading rusher. Their top two guys ran for 29 yards each. Just McKissick did it on 5 carries, and Ty Johnson did it on 10. So that's 5.8 yards a carry to 2.9 for Ty Johnson. Carry on. Hurt his knee in the game. He only got 5 carries for 23 yards, but he averaged 4.6 yards a carry. So he was pretty effective when he was in there. Then he got hurt. So in totality here, 20 carries for 81 yards, a 4.1 average. Now, receiving today, we have Danny Amendola leading them with 8 of 11 for 105 yards, 13.1 average. He didn't catch a touchdown, although Stafford did throw 4 to Marvin Jones, who's next on the list. He caught 10 of 13 passes for 93 yards and those 4 touchdowns. Not very good there, but Marvin Hall, 1 of 2 passes were caught for 47 yards. He caught that one deep ball. TJ Hawkinson caught 3 of 5 for 32 yards. JD McKissick, 2 of 3 for 31. Ty Johnson caught all 4 of his targets for 28. And it wasn't really All-A-Day Galladay today. It was just 1 of 2 targets for 21 yards. And Jesse James caught 1 of 4 for 7 yards. And Carry-On didn't take in his only target. So they're 6 of 11 on third down. That's 54%. 0 of 1 on fourth down. They converted, every red zone opportunity they had, going 4 of 4. Minus 1 in the turnover margin. And penalty-wise, 8 for 67 yards. Held the ball for 20 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, Minnesota coming in here. Kirk, 24 of 34 for 337 yards, 9.9 average yards. And another 4-touchdown game, which is the second week in a row that has happened. Didn't throw a pick this time because, it didn't go off of Diggs' face. And the rating is 141.4. Dalvin Cook carried 25 times for 142 yards, a 5.7 average, got 2 touchdowns. His longest run was 23 yards. Madison didn't have the most efficient day, 7 carries for 18 yards, 2.6 yards a carry. Kind of like last week, where I think every once in a while we're going to see defenses that kind of match up better for our backs. Well, one of them, because those are 2 very different style backs, where Dalvin's more of your cutback kind of guy, and it's more of, with that zone running game, you get that line moving this way, that way, and then he's just going to find the open hole, make a cut, go. That's kind of his deal. Madison's more north-south. So when you're talking, you have guys like Damon Harrison and Ashawn Robinson and, Trey Flowers. Pretty good run defenders for the most part. And Alexander Madison doesn't really pair well with that, with his north-south style of running. So him not getting many yards doesn't really surprise me. CJ Ham, 1 carry for 9 yards on that third down and short play. And Kirk, 4 carries for -3 yards, because kneel downs count as carries. So, including these in the kneel downs, it was 37 carries for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground today. So, receiving, Diggs got 142 yards, called in 7 of 8 targets. He didn't catch a touchdown because he dropped the 1 target that he didn't catch, and is what it is. 20.3 yards a catch. Smith Jr. caught 5 of 6 targets for 60 yards. Rudolph also got involved today, 5 of 6 for 58. Olabisi, 4 of 8 for 40 yards and a touch. Rudolph also caught a touch. Thielen, 1 of 2, caught that 1 touchdown, which we all know he got hurt after. Dalvin, 1 of 2 for 7 yards, and CJ Ham only got 2 touches today, which is fine. He's a fullback, but pretty effective and useful touches. He converted a 3rd down and he got a touchdown in the red zone. So pretty effective touches for the fullback today. 6 of 10 on 3rd down, so 60%. 5 of 5 in the red zone, +1 in turnover margin. 6 for 61 yards on the penalties. 32 minutes and 10 seconds in terms of time of possession. Now, thoughts and whatnot and all that good stuff. Offensively, there wasn't much to complain about. Hopefully, Thielen's okay. And just for the long haul, that would be kind of nice to not have him dealing with a hamstring all year now. But I do think him being out very early in this game is one reason why we saw all the tight end usage ramp up, because now you have to make up for that production, which is, I think, fine. I think even the way the offense was running, like I honestly didn't think it missed much of a beat, which is kind of weird when you talk about a guy like Adam Thielen who just leaves. But at the same time, I do think we saw the targets on Olabisi, 4 of 8, only 50%. It's not the best. Like, that's not the worst, but it certainly isn't the best. I do think there were some throws in that game that were kind of, well, like not working all the time with Kirk Cousins, because there was a 1 3rd down play where it seemed like he wanted him to run more of a post where he ran a cross kind of thing. And then there was one where he ran more of a deep post, because there was I forget when it was, but it was a play action and it was kind of a deeper cross play, and Cousins threw it as more of a cross where he wanted to post it. So, one was more of a corner, actually, my bad. Catching myself. But Kirk's actually playing with emotion, and it's really good, but also kind of weird, just because he's kind of a robot from the time he's been with us, except for these last 3 weeks. It's been working, and I think you just need to look at those last 2, I guess, drives, you can call it last 2. Pretty much the last real drive and then that last drive. So one of the big things with Kirk Cousins is, he can't beat real teams. That's something about him, and a lot of people are like, well, it's a big game. Detroit's actually a pretty good team. We're going to lose this game because Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. But he's actually the one that threw the dagger, and the dagger being that 66-yard throw to Diggs really late in the game with about 3 minutes left. And the way they did that, they motioned Diggs from right to left, and it was man coverage. And immediately after that, you saw him check out, which means they're likely going to run. But then he saw the man-to-man coverage and knew, that's going to be a cover 0 probably. So then he did the play action, and all of a sudden, Diggs 66 yards later. And it's nice to see him playing with this kind of comfortability. We didn't see this last season. We didn't see this from Cousins. This is kind of what people expected when we first signed him, and what we got these last 3 weeks. This is what people wanted, and now he's giving it to them. And the other thing, when they were kneeling down, you saw him yelling at people still. It was nice to see that kind of level of care. The game is won. You're going to win the game. They're kneeling down. He's still on people, though, throughout the game. Until that thing hits the 000 mark, at least for today, he was on guys. And it's nice to see him take on that leadership role finally. And it's a good sign of things to come. Also kind of weird, because I don't want to get too optimistic, because we're still Minnesota, and we never, ever, ever want to get too optimistic, because that's when bad things happen around here. And I don't think Diggs can drop the ball, though, anymore. We kind of saw that last week. It led to a pick last week. Saw it a few other times last week, but for the most part, he was fine. Once again, for the most part today, he was fine. But it seems like he's having a play or two a game now where it's he's got that, and then it just falls to the ground. It's that's weird. But Dalvin, still very good at football. There was a times where the line wasn't blocking the best, and Dalvin sort of just did Dalvin things. And so it's very good. He's just extremely good at football, because otherwise I don't think this offense would move as well as it does. Pass protection, really good today. Kirk wasn't really under pressure unless he wasn't throwing pretty much on time. He was holding the ball or things like that. It seemed like for the most part he was really comfortable in that pocket. Didn't really have much duress. Just wasn't much to complain about on the offensive side. Defensively, I feel like there's a few things given the expectations of this defense, which is one, you let up 30 points. That's not normal. They also, I think they let up too many third downs. 6 for 11, 54%. That's a little more than what they usually do. And we've kind of seen this creep up a little bit. I remember against the Giants, it was also a little high. Also, Detroit was 4 of 4 in the red zone. Mainly Marvin Jones was 4 of 4 in the red zone. So you have to clean that up. I don't know what it is about Marvin Jones against Minnesota that makes him just extremely good. Like, it's almost like him and Zimmer just got so along in Cincinnati. It's like, I'm gonna do you solids every time we play you. But it kind of every time it feels like. I mean, today was pretty abnormal with 4 touchdowns. But Matt Stafford, I think, had too much time as well. We had to fix that. We saw Hunter and Griffin make a few plays every once in a while, but for them, we didn't really have consistent pressures. Pretty inconsistent for the most part, and feels like when these important, bigger games happen, that's when we allow points, which is kind of the issue within the Zimmer era so far. We've kind of noticed that, like when we made the playoffs in 2017, obviously there's the NFC Championship game, which we don't mention here. But even in that Saint game where Diggs caught that touchdown late, they came roaring back, and you kind of see this defense let up points. But on the flip side, there is the silver lining of they did make the critical plays when it really, really, really needed to happen. You had a game-sealing interception. That was actually a really good catch from Trey Waynes. You had, they got 2 sacks where the Detroit didn't get any. And then there was a 4th down conversion where Eric Kendricks just made a hell of a play. So they also made the critical stops when they were really necessary in key moments. But you would like to see a lot more consistency in these kinds of games. And it really is unfortunate that the Diggs drop was compounded by a wide left Dan Bailey field goal. We need to stop missing field goals. I know that's only his second one, but I never trust the kickers here. I do think this was actually a really good and entertaining game to watch just as a football fan. But because Detroit is a good football team. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I need Detroit fans that may be watching this, Viking people. Okay, Viking people need to respect the team. That's a good football team, and Detroit needs to actually like that's it's nothing to be ashamed of. Every once in a while, you do drop these kinds of games. It happens. The Green Bay one was a lot more controversial than this one, I think, and I kind of feel for you guys after the 2-game slide now. But now Minnesota going back here, we need a quick turnaround now because it's not like we have all week. We don't have that week. We play Thursday. We play against the Redskins at home on Thursday. We got the Kirk Cousins Bowl, the Kirk Cousins revenge game, the Kirk versus Keenum game, whatever you want to call it. We got that on Thursday night. You don't have much time to prepare. Preferably, if Thielen's okay, I would still not want him to play in this game because I'm not very confident in the Redskins just in general, and I'm not sure you need Adam Thielen for that game. But just keep him on there and keep him for the 2-game road trip of Kansas City and Dallas because I think I'd prefer to take my chance at Washington without Adam Thielen. And I would like to know your comments down below. Liking, subscribing helps. And until next time, I bid y'all adieu.